Welcome back to You Can Understand Shakespeare. You can, and you will. My name is John Donovan, and I will be helping you through this. We are on Act 2, Scene 2 of Hamlet. It's not too long of one, so I'll try to keep it short, but if you've been listening, you know I like the sound of my own voice. Enter old Polonius, counselor to the king here in Denmark, and his man Reynaldo, or two. Now, Reynaldo is his man, meaning someone that works for him or someone who is sort of in his league. Polonius says, "Give him this money and these notes, Reynaldo." We don't know who this him is, but he's giving Reynaldo money and notes. "I will, my lord. You shall do marvelous wisely, good Reynaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behavior." Okay, so Reynaldo is going to go visit someone, and it would be wise of him in Polonius' estimation to, before he visits him, inquire, do an investigation into his behavior. Reynaldo says, "My lord, I did intend it." Polonius says, "Marry, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what Danes are in Paris." So inquire for me first what Danes are in Paris. He's going to Paris in France. He's sending his man Reynaldo to go give money and notes to Laertes. But before he does that, he wants Reynaldo to inquire into Laertes' behavior. If we remember back, what was Laertes' advice for Laertes? He was very concerned about Laertes' character and his virtue. So let's see if he's doing that. So he says, inquire what Daneskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means, meaning what's their wealth, what's their income, what's their class, and where they keep their lodge, where they're lodging, what company, at what expense, in finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son. So you're gonna this encompassment. If you're encompassing something, you're coming around it indirectly. It's a roundabout and indirect way of inquiry. Find out that they do know my son. Come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. So if you are sort of indirect, if you're circumspect about it, you're going to become nearer to truth, to knowing who knows my son, to hearing about his behavior, than if you had just been asking direct questions. That's your particular demands. Take you, meaning pretend, as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, Laertes, as thus. And now he's going to act. He says, "I know his father and his friends, and in part him. I know him a little bit." Do you mark this, Reynaldo? Like, do you follow? Do you understand? "Aye, very well, my lord. And in part him," meaning I only know Laertes a little bit. And he's going to continue. "But, you may say, not well. I don't know him well. But, if it be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted so-and-so." So he says, I want you to pretend to know my son a little bit. And be like, oh, if this is the Laertes I'm talking about, then he's a very wild man. He's addicted to this and to this. And there put on him means attribute to him what forgeries you please, whatever made up tales you want to make. "Marry, none so rank meaning excessive or foul, none that are so bad as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, meaning unrestrained, wild and usual slips as our companions noted and most known to youth and liberty, to those who are young and full of freedom, attribute to him the things that are usually happening with young people." And we still do this. Oh, teenagers, yeah. They're probably like smoking weed and drinking and maybe having some sex and these types of things. We still do this. He says attribute these things to him. Nothing really crazy. He's not in any super hard drugs, or he's not murdering people. So he wants Reynaldo to go to Paris and kind of besmirch his son's name. Let's get to the bottom of this. So Reynaldo asks, as an example, "As gaming, my lord?" Aye. So yes, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing, which is whoring. You may go so far. So you may say that he's a gambler, he likes to drink, he's fighting, he likes the ladies types things. And Reynaldo does have some places. "My lord, that would dishonor him." Polonius says, "Faith, as you may season it in the charge, as you may mitigate throughout it." So you can kind of mitigate this, you can season it, you can temper it a little bit. "You must not put another scandal on him that he is open to inconstancy." So do not say that he is open, meaning he's inclined to incontinency, which is sexual excess. That's not my meaning, so don't do that. "But breathe his faults so quaintly," breathe means speak his faults so quaintly, "that they may seem the taints of liberty," meaning faults that come from freedom of action. So like when people go to college for the first time and they don't have all these rules, they have these faults that are taints of liberty. The flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood. Unreclaimed blood is unchecked blood of general assault. Meaning this, if it had these savageness of general assault, it impacts all young men. All right, so he agrees. Maybe drabbing is a bit too far. So season it. Don't include that in the charge. Mitigate in the charge. Season means temper down type things. Rinaldo says, "But good, my lord," and he's interrupted. That's what that dash means. Polonius says, "Wherefore should you do this?" Wherefore means why. So wherefore art thou Romeo? It's not where are you Romeo, but why are you Romeo? I, my lord, I would know that. Polonius, marry, sir, here's my drift. Here's what I mean. And I believe it is a fetch of wit, which means a clever scheme. You say these slight sallies on my son, as 'twere a thing a little soiled with working, stained by education in the ways of the world, so lost his innocence a little bit, so to speak. So you lay these slight sallies, these sally forth, these indulgences, these actions on my son. Lay them they're slight, they're not big. As if he was not super innocent. Mark you, your party, the person that you're speaking with in converse, whoever you are talking to, because remember, you're going to go find some Danes that know him. So mark your party, figure out what he's like. Him you would sound having ever seen in the predominant crimes, the aforesaid faults. The youth you breathe guilty of, be assured, he closes with you in this consequence. Your party will confide with you to the following effect. Good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase, or the addition, to the expression or the title of address of man and country. And he's kind of rambling on a little bit. Polonius also likes the sound of his own voice. So you're going to address whoever your speaking partner is, one of these Danes that knows him. And you're going to talk about... You're going to sound him out. You're going to figure out if he's involved in any of these crimes that we have mentioned here so far. If he is given to drinking, or if he is given to gambling, fighting, these types of things. And he'll confide in you in this consequence. He'll address you. And now he's quoting again. He's acting like this person, but he's going on too long. And Rinaldo stops. Very good, my lord. Polonius says, and then, sir, does he do this? Means he. He does this. Does. And he lost his point. That's what it means. He goes, what was I about to say? By the Mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave? By the Mass just means by like the Catholic Mass. It's just sort of a mild oath. It's an expression. Where did I leave? Where did I leave off? And Rinaldo, good man that is, was paying attention. He says, at closes in the consequence. At closes in the consequences. Aye, Mary. He closes thus. So he will say this. I know the gentleman, Laertes. I saw him yesterday, or the other day, or then with such or such. Meaning I saw him at this time, or I saw him at this place, or whatever. And as you say, so he's now pretending to be the person that Rinaldo will be speaking with. And as you, Rinaldo, say, there was a gaming. There he was gaming. There, or took in his rouse, they're falling out. They're fighting at tennis. Or perchance, I saw him enter such a house of sale. Videlicit, which is Latin for, that is to say, a brothel, or so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood, take this carp of truth. So you're going to weave a little bit of falsehood, which will be bait on a hook, to catch the truth as signified by a carp, a fish. So you're going to say, oh, I heard that he likes to gamble, to someone who likes to gamble. And then this man, if that be true, says, yeah, I actually saw him watching the horses, or at a casino, or whatever. So your bait of falsehood will catch a carp of truth. And thus do we of wisdom and of reach, which is wide understanding, with windlasses and with assays of bias, with indirect tests, like the curved line or bias that a weighted bowling ball describes. Windlasses are roundabout paths. So again, this is right back from what he says at the beginning. Don't go directly questioning, hey, is Laertes up to no good? Because if he has these sort of falcon patrons, he's not going to tell the truth. So do it in the roundabout way. So by these windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections, find directions out. By indirections, which is the roundabout way, find directions, the real direction of Laertes' actions, his real tendencies out. So by my former lecture, by my preceding lecture and advice, shall you, my son, you shall know what is happening with my son. You shall figure out what my son has been doing. He's sending someone to go spy on his son. You have me, have you not? Meaning you understand what I mean. Rinaldo says, my lord, I have. We'll finish this out. He says, God be with ye, and that B apostrophe W-I apostrophe Y-E is just sort of an abbreviation for be with thee. Just as we do LOL for laugh out loud, or THX for thanks. That's what he's doing here. So it looks weird on the page. We go, what on earth is that? But here's someone pronounce it. God be with ye. We can kind of follow a little bit more. Oh, God be with you. Fare ye well. Good, my lord. Observe his inclination in yourself. So observe, see what he is like for yourself. I shall, my lord. And let him ply his music. Let him work at his music. Make sure he's working on his music. Well, my lord, farewell. And Reynaldo leaves. So quick note about Polonius. He's a snoop. He likes to figure things out. He is okay with spying. He's a little bit of a fool. As we see, he kind of got lost up in his own thoughts a little bit. But he's a little Machiavellian. He has plots and schemes and things. And he's also very concerned about his son. I want to make sure that because he's very concerned that his son is acting the right way. And there's no reason to think Laertes would be doing any of these things, but he's a concerned parent type thing. And his son's off at college. So exit Reynaldo and enter Ophelia, who is also Polonius's daughter. How now, Ophelia? What's the matter? Now, that might be weird if we're reading it, but we have to understand that when Ophelia enters, the actress playing her is going to be, surprise, acting. So she would be needing to act in some way that Polonius would naturally ask, well, what's the matter? Ophelia, oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted. Something's frightened me. With what, in the name of God? My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, which means private chamber, Ophelia didn't go into a closet like we have now where it's just clothes and was sewing. That'd be kind of odd. Rather, she was in her private chamber. So I was sewing in my closet. Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, which is a jacket unfastened. So rather than all done up really nice and neat, it's all unbraced. It's sort of like if I had like a button-up shirt, but it was all unbuttoned. You'd be like, but not like in a cool, I have an undershirt. Like there's no undershirt and you just kind of look a little crazy. With his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down-jived to his ankles. So this is a little bit more. Meaning down-jived to his ankles means that his stockings were fouled. So they were all dirty, and that could be with any type of thing that might foul your stockings. He was ungartered. So those would be the stockings. He was ungartered and down-jivvy to his ankles. His pants were around his ankles. They were unjived. It's because jives are prisoner's fetters, like chains around the ankles. So he had his pants down around his legs. Pale as his shirt, his face was pale, and he was wearing a white shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purpose, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me. So he looked like one who was sent out of hell to deliver bad news, which is interesting, because we actually just saw someone who exactly that. So he's kind of looking a little bit actually like the ghost of his father. So Hamlet, with his pants around his ankles, soiled stockings, open, looking crazy, we'd be like, whoa, what was Hamlet doing? Remember when we last saw Hamlet, the very end of Act 1, he said, I'm going to put on an antic disposition. I'm going to act crazy. So when we hear Ophelia all afraid because Hamlet came into her private room acting crazy, and also, let's be real, this is a very crazy way to act, and also very unsettling. It's downright harassment. She does not need him acting this way. We know that this is probably part of whatever Hamlet is planning. Polonius asks, mad for thy love? Has he gone crazy out of love for you? My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. So they're afraid that Hamlet is so in love with Ophelia, and maybe he's not getting it, and so he's gone crazy. What said he? He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls at such perusal of my face as a would draw it. So he grabs me, and he holds me tight, and he stares deeply and peruses, which means deep reading. He deeply is reading my face as if he was going to draw a picture of it and studying it. Long stayed he so he just held me and stared at my face like he was trying to understand my face so he could get a good picture of it so he could draw it. And he long stayed he so he did this for a while. At last, a little shaking of my arm, and three times his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. So after holding me for a while, he shakes my arm a little bit, and 3 times waving his head up and down, he sighed in such a piteous and profound way that it shattered all of his body, and it seemed to end his being. That done, he lets me go. And with his head over his shoulder turned, he seems to find his way without his steps. So his head's over his shoulder. He's walking without, like, really looking where, I may have turned away from the mic. He turns his head over his shoulder and is walking without looking where he's going. He finds his way without his eyes. For out a doors he went without their help, without the help of his eyes, and to the last bended their light on me. The sight was thought to result from both sending light out and taking it in through the eyes. So this was a just thing that they thought how sight worked. Why would you know that without the footnotes? That's why you need good footnotes when you're reading Shakespeare. Polonius says, "Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love. This is the insanity of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings." So the ecstasy of love is an insanity of love. Sometimes when people are in love, they go crazy. So Polonius goes, he is so in love with you. That's what this is. And his violent property, it foredoes itself. The very means of love destroys itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, leads people's choices to do desperate things. And as oft as any passions under heaven that does afflict our natures. He does this as often as any of the passions, any of our emotions which under heaven afflict and harm our human natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late? Have you said anything hard or mean to him? Also remember, Polonius said, don't give in to his advances, so he should know. "No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me. So I just did exactly what you told me, which was to not accept his love letters. Don't let him come and talk to me." Polonius says, "That hath made him mad." Yep, that's what did it. He has gone mad because you follow my instructions and you have not let him have access to you, so he is madly in love. Polonius, incorrect, but how could he guess the Hamlet Senior's ghost is walking around and Claudius killed him? So it's a little self-centered and it's incorrect. Is he a fool? Maybe it's not too much of a leap. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I had not observed him. So he's saying, I'm sorry I did not understand this. I should have observed him more closely because I did not think that this was going to happen. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. So I thought he was going to trying to ruin you through seduction. I just thought he was trying to bed you, Ophelia. But beshrew my jealousy, which means curse my suspicion. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. So it is proper to our age, meaning he is older. So just as it is common for younger people to lack discretion, it is common for people of my age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions, to think of to cast our opinions out on other people and to think what we will of them. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. It may incur hatred by revealing Hamlet's love, but to conceal it may cause greater suffering. So Polonius actually has a pretty good idea, which means, hey, look, if we hide this, it might move grief. It might upset him that we are going to hide. If we were to hide this, it's not good to hide things. In tragedies, you should communicate. Lack of communication causes a lot of problems. But concealing it might cause greater suffering, so we should let the king know what is up. Come. And so they go, and they leave. Okay, and that is the end of Act 2, Scene 1. Hamlet is putting on his antic disposition, and who is taking most of it? Ophelia, his kind of will they, won't they. Why is she involved in this revenge plot on the king? Good question. It's one that maybe we'll start to answer a little bit later. But to get there, you will have to join me in Act 2, Scene 2, and we'll see you then.